So we are boondocking, and yes, RV life. We are boondocking outside of Durango, between Durango and Bayfield.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it all worked beautifully when we tested
Everything
this.
was great.
Of course.
Yeah.
But then, of course, now it doesn't work that we're on. And we had it all nicely set up so we could be outside. Barry's dream has been to be outside.
It's always my dream.
And so we tried it. So let's see.
If
Okay,
the odds
Brian
are,
can
okay,
see
if
us.
the odds,
Okay, can
hey,
you see
odds,
us on
try to
Skype?
call us on Skype, odds, and see if we can get
Yeah.
you on.
We're gonna see if we can get you on. It just will be a lot different.
Yeah, it won't. Oh, it won't be the smooth, elegant production you're used to.
Oh, are they used to smooth and elegant? Please wait a
Yeah, they're-
long time. What's that mean, Johnny? Doing a live stream by stream. There are no streams. It's very dry. Though you have a chance of seeing some cows or hearing cows and a donkey. We
had
been
cattle
woken
earlier.
up by them often. Oops, Skype coming in. Yes. Tell Kenny no.
Okay.
Can you say hiatus? I can. If that makes you drink hiatus.
All right.
Team Benton, thank you.
Can you hear us?
Oh, I can
Odds?
see you.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear
Odds?
us?
We can see you, and we can hear you.
Oh my
How
God!
exciting is this?
Yeah.
All the things at once.
Oh my God! I have no idea if this is going to work. So quick, tell us everything you know about the
Mom
internet.
found us even. Yeah, thank you, Mom.
Sometimes it does not work.
Yeah,
No
the funny
kidding.
thing is, I know Tom and Ellie know, you know what, we've had really good internet out here.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
The internet's been fine. We just had some sort of computer problem. It doesn't seem to be the internet.
Yeah.
We are live.
Yeah, we're live. So,
I'm telling the heckling crowd we are live now.
No, yeah, sure. Come say hi. Sure. This is we've got
Scott.
the Macy's on. Deborah's mom's on, so be careful.
Yes, be nice.
Well, be
No,
nice.
this is
Okay.
Scott.
Thank you, Tom and
Into
Ellie.
the business.
Stout life business, living the stout life. We're all out here boondocking. Yes. Yes, before he streaks, Johnny. Exactly. Let's talk. Okay. All right. Go drink your beers. Go.
Go away. Go away.
All right.
Oh,
So
Tim
we're
McDonald.
gonna try this.
Tim's another techie. So Tim's a friend of ours from the Dallas area, and they own a software and integration company or something. I don't know. So he's probably going to be chiming in on technology.
We've only known him
as well.
for 20-something
Yeah,
years, but we
yeah,
don't really know what he
they
does.
do. Yeah.
Can you see us now, Johnny?
No.
And they can see. Okay, and they can see Teresa and Brian.
it's okay.
Yay!
Yay.
Awesome.
All right.
That's awesome. Okay, they ought to show up. They showed up. Oh, look, cow.
Oh, there's cows over here.
Okay, this is gonna be fun.
This is not the
All
show I
right.
expected.
No, but that's okay. This is the show we've got.
That's right.
So welcome to TVC Live, and thank you, Odds, for your patience.
Yay!
Round
A
of
round of applause.
Yay! And Barry doesn't have all his fun sound effects to give you
No,
cheers
yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
either.
yeah.
So
We're all
in
on
the
it.
generator.
And
just
now the
started
generators.
up. This is going to be fun. Yes. Okay. We are going to talk about websites, though. Can we please? At least for a little bit. This will be just fun. So, Brian and Teresa, first of all, why don't you tell us about your RV life? Barry's going to go turn off the generator, but why don't you tell us how long have y'all been in an RV?
2.5 years. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah? And what kind of RV?
Well, we have a 40-foot Newmar Dutch Star, Class A motorhome.
Nice.
Wow. That's interesting.
It is. People always ask us what the different rigs are, so it's good to know. It is good to know what kind of rig you're in, and you've been doing it about 2.5 years. So you're a little bit longer than we have. We have our 2-year anniversary in next week. So yeah, that we've been on the road.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we moved in at the end of May, but we didn't leave, so that's not quite
May.
2.5 years.
Well, yeah. So yeah, it was May. May was
We
our
got
2
it a
years.
year
So
before, and in a funny story that I think nobody but you guys and us know, we were like looking all over the place, all over the country for an RV, could not find one in Atlanta. I happened to find this, which was perfect for us, offline. Some old guy had it written down on a sheet of notebook paper. Meanwhile, you guys had to come to
Atlanta.
from
That's
Texas.
right.
By Big
Exactly.
Al.
Yep.
That's right. We bought ours right outside Atlanta.
Even
That is so
with
funny.
ours.
Yes. Okay.
Funny.
All right. Well, we want to talk to you about websites. And why do we want to talk to you two about websites?
Because we build websites
Yes.
and we support websites.
Yes. In fact,
Yeah.
And we
in
do
all
some
honesty,
transit
you help
optimization
us.
for websites.
So full disclosure, you've done the bentondowns.com website and thevirtualcampground.com website. We've known you for a couple of years, and you've done great work for us.
Thank you.
Oh, we appreciate that.
And you're
I guess
fun to
the
have beers
good
with.
thing about it, if you're not ready yet to hire somebody, you're just starting to look. How do you stay out of trouble? What can you do before you hire
Yes.
somebody like us? And so we're kind of guessing, and I can't really see the chat right now, but we're kind of guessing at where y'all are at, because I know Deb asked some questions in the group and got not a lot of response, so we're not sure what you guys are looking for. So if you have specific questions that you want us to answer, pop them in the chat and we will. But we're guessing that a lot of you are starting out or thinking about starting out, and unless you are ready to roll with an idea that's going to make money pretty soon, or you just have a little bit of money in the bank and you don't have time, honestly, the best thing that you can do is build your website yourself, because there's a whole lot of ugly gray area between DIY for free or nearly free, and then the professional website designers and builders. And we tend to be middle of the road, but when you're looking at doing it free, or some guy who says he'll build you a website with everything you need for $500, you're going to get in trouble, and you're going to end up having to redo it, because it's pretty quickly, because it's about like buying that thing at the dollar store.
Right.
It's there, it's $1, but it's
works.
going to break next week.
Yeah.
So.
The $500,000 Fiverr websites, you get what you pay for, and typically what you're doing is you're just buying a problem that you're going to spend a lot of time fixing.
Yeah.
It's a little easier to bootstrap it yourself if you keep things simple. Don't try to overdo it, and then it's a balance of how much time you want to spend learning how to do something versus how much time you want to spend creating content and trying to drive traffic to your site and to accomplish whatever your goal is, whether it's subscribers or readers or sales or whatever.
So let's just assume that's where people are coming from, unless they tell us otherwise, because I can't see.
Oh, nope,
Yeah,
nope,
I don't
so far,
see
Yeah,
any-
no.
so
I don't see
let me
any
ask
questions
you.
coming
Let
in
me
the
ask
chat.
you a question. I have a question in that. Like, what is the difference between if somebody wanted to, like, a lot of RVers start out and they just want to have a blog about their travels.
Mm-hmm.
So that's different than, say, like Barry starting Benton Downs. It's an online business, or it needs an online presence.
Right.
So what is the difference between those two in a website?
Well, at the end of the day, they really are both websites, and at the end of the day, it doesn't matter unless you are blogging to just journal privately, or maybe only your mom reads it. Hi, Dad's mom. You have a goal in mind. You want people to come. You want people to read it. So you've got to do the best you can there. But if you were just blogging, there's so much misinformation out there about it that you'll think about starting on WordPress.com, which is free. And usually people that are trying to sell you something will say, oh, don't do that, it's terrible, whatever, and you don't have any control over your stuff. And that's kind of misinformation, because it's the same software that you use.
Barry's got a cow over his shoulder.
Okay, I want you to know these cows have been everywhere all week that we've been here. This is the first time they've literally been in the backyard.
They're moving in.
Yes, they are moving in. Yes.
So there's nothing wrong with starting a free blog, and I would just, if you want to look pro, give WordPress.com a few dollars. It's probably like $40 a year, and use your domain name. You don't lose anything there, really, because you could write 500 blog posts, and when you were ready to go big time and go to a blog that doesn't really have training wheels, you can take all of those posts and move them into a new website. No big deal. at all. I mean,
So is it
Right.
important
I mean,
just
the
to keep it
big-
in a simple theme, or just, is that important just to keep it really simple so when you're ready to go big time, it's easier to put it in there, transfer it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That helps
So
a lot.
that is the one thing about WordPress.com that's different. Well, one thing is two things. You don't have to worry about hackers, headaches, all the technical things, all the updates that we take care of with SiteCare and all of that junk. It's all locked in, so you can't get to it. So you can't really add plugins unless you give them a whole bunch of money to do their VIP plan, hundreds of dollars a year. We're not even going to talk about that. But you can pick themes there. Some are better, some are worse. When you leave, you can't take that design with you, but you can take all your content. And you're probably ready for a new design by then anyway. You can take your posts, you can take all your images. You don't lose anything. Somebody else deals with the tech headaches. If you're just blogging, no big deal. Don't let anybody tell you you need to do like a big old website.
Right.
On
But you can't monetize there.
you cannot monetize there
You can't
That's the
sell.
difference.
You can't add. There's no monetization at all on WordPress.com.
unless
You
you
pay
give
for the
them
big
a bunch
money.
of money, and at that point, yeah, you are better off
Self-hosting. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
so that's kind of where you decide to go
line.
from blog to you want to get off the WordPress 101, the freebie part of it, pay either WordPress, or it's better to go ahead and start your own website that you're not paying WordPress.
Now, if your goal is monetization from the very beginning, then you probably need to start out in a self-hosted environment. But keep it simple if you're doing it yourself.
Yeah, keep it really simple. That's the awesome tip, because what we see people doing, it's kind of like the guy or girl who feels like super wimpy, so they go out and buy a Jeep and put 44-inch tires on it, or whatever the really big super tires is. Like, they're compensating. So when people do a website, is somebody harassing the cows back there?
Yes.
When people do a website, they think, I don't know what I'm doing, but this theme looks super fancy and it's got all these squirrels and all these designy things and all these widgets and everything. So they pick that theme and they get way too complicated when really the clean, minimalistic design, the kind of plain vanilla that looks boring to the uninitiated, that's going to make your stuff look awesome. Because when you put your photographs, you put your products, you put your blog posts in, your stuff will shine.
They'll stand out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So when people go
And
into WordPress,
Don't download every plugin.
I'm sorry, what?
Go
No,
ahead.
You go.
Oh, I was just saying, when they go into WordPress and they have to pick a theme, is there a way to find the best kind of theme for you? I think y'all have had some advice on keeping it simple, and there are some.
So are we talking about the WordPress.com that's kind of locked down where you're not self-hosted, or are we talking about when you move to hosting and picking, actually maybe even buying a theme?
That last one.
Yeah. When you're ready to go, bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have two recommendations. StudioPress has been around for a while, and they do really well-coded minimalistic themes that will help you do what you want. So if you are building it yourself, I would choose a StudioPress theme. However, there is something better, but it's got a bit too many settings, adjustments. It's what we're using to design all of the sites now, and it's GeneratePress. So if you really like fiddling around and you have a lot of time to spend, I would go with GeneratePress. The StudioPress is.
I would probably recommend just sticking with StudioPress for the uninitiated. GeneratePress, it's probably going to be a little overwhelming for the novice web builder that's trying to do it on their own. And I think you just end up spending way too much time trying to build a website when you should be just getting content up and getting people to read your stuff.
And that's really, that's one of the reasons why you tell people to keep it simple, is that way they're not having to mess so much with the website, but actually doing their business. They don't want to have to think about all the different website things. And that's also when perhaps is the difference in the change from when you go from your own website to having one that you get professionals to help you with, is now it needs some bells and whistles, it needs some plugins, it needs something, and then it becomes, well, that's not my specialty. My specialty is content, so that I would want to leave up to professionals.
And that's what happened with our
You wanna work
website. Yeah,
on your web.
yeah.
And then, in some cases, it might make sense for some people to have their first website be a professional website. One client, for example, Truism Fitness, he did try to build his blog, and it wasn't a hobby blog. It was something he was pouring his expertise into, but he was also running another company that I don't know if I should rat him out here. But well, it is his company, so
Yeah.
but he did not have the time or the technical chops that he really wanted to mess around with it. And he didn't have a huge budget, but he had enough budget to pay us to do the website, to let us help him, got it up and running, and he monetized it pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly, yeah. You got traffic up
So
pretty
more
fast.
like, it just depends on what your budget and your time frame is.
Right, and how much time you want to shovel into it to do it yourself.
Right, exactly. So we did have a couple questions. Go ahead.
We got one about what about Wix and Weebly?
They're okay if you just want an inexpensive website that you're not going to interact with a lot, maybe just a business website. If you wanted a really nice looking business website that you didn't want to fiddle around with, I might use Squarespace. It's like $25.
And Wix and Weebly have some SEO disadvantages as well. They don't.
So there's that.
There's that. So if you want to drive a lot of traffic to your site, they're not exactly the best. Those are WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. Web design templates. So they're heavy, they're fat, they're slow, but you can get some decent results out of it if you don't throw too much bloat into it. But I still recommend something off of one of those platforms if you're really trying to drive traffic.
And you can export some of your stuff from them, but it's a pain in the rear, and you're probably going to need help to do it. So if you're going to do a Wix or a Weebly, I'm just like, go get WordPress. They're $40 a year. Put your domain name on it and do your website there. And really, WordPress out of the Gutenberg editor, so it's not quite a WYSIWYG, but it's darn close. It's easy to build with blocks. You can do it. You can.
Yeah.
You keep it simple.
Keep it simple, and you can build it and not do all the bells and whistles of Wix and Weebly. Because I just don't like them. Sorry.
That's all right.
That's okay. You're allowed to have an opinion.
We had another question about why shouldn't I use a Genesis child theme? Did we say you shouldn't? I don't know.
You should.
You should. Yeah. No.
Oh, okay. I know what they're talking about. So we're recommending that, and it's not terrible by any means. And the biggest disadvantage of it is one that you actually no longer have to deal with. But their home pages are made out of widgets, and that's what you guys are dealing with on the current TBC site. So we made that work with a heck of a lot of customization when the site was originally built. But if you go look at the StudioPress site and you look at the themes, all those little areas, the most flexibility you have is either you can use that one section or not use it. They give you these little boxes to put your content in, and if you don't have that exact content, it doesn't fit. It's like trying to shoehorn you're into something that's just really a structure that doesn't fit. Put big furniture in a small house, or small furniture in a big house kind of deal. So the way that you can get around that and still take advantage, if you're building your site yourself, of the StudioPress, the lightweight code, the reputation, the support, is you no longer have to use that as your homepage, that widgeted homepage. You can build your own homepage however you want it, with blocks, sections, and just in WordPress, set that as your homepage. Yeah. So there you go.
And then the dog and us asked a question earlier about, and maybe you guys can give more explanation, but they were asking, what is the worst thing you've seen on WordPress sites? So is there some big don't do this kind of things you would tell people from a WordPress site? It was like one of the first ones.
How much time do we have?
Yeah, don't do that. There's so many bad designs we've seen.
They're froze.
Uh-oh.
So let's assume we're gonna be okay in a second here.
Okay.
We can hear
So
you.
what Brian said about plugins,
Oh, okay.
but to add on to that, anything that has to go outside of your site to go fetch a file, even one you don't see or think about, like maybe a Google font, is going to take longer. So the more you can keep things within your site, the better. And some plugins are really bad about going out, like Facebook Pixel. We mentioned the fonts, Google Analytics, which most of us have to use. There are ways to get around this stuff. It's beyond the scope of what we can talk about. Social feeds are the worst for whatever reason.
Like you put a share Instagram button that will have to go out to Instagram 3 times and come back before the can render.
So this is not anything any of us think about, but when our sites are slow and janky and things are chugging along and the visitor comes and they can't see your stuff because it's coming in like this, it's because you have a lot of junk on your site. And I think actually, even though all that stuff is bad, the worst thing about websites where people don't really know what they're doing is the thing that they don't have. And that's like, what's the benefit to the person coming to your site? How are you talking to them about what you're offering? You know, and it's just not really focused
what
on
value are you providing to the end user? That's really what it boils down to.
Right.
And a lot of people, when they build their first website, they don't answer that question at all.
So that's a great question then. So I'm a new entrepreneur starting my new website. What are a couple of questions that I should really be thinking about in order to determine what I should be doing next?
Well, a lot of it would depend on what your particular background and expertise is in. But I mean, it really boils down to is like one, what value am I going to bring to the visitor that comes to this website? And then two, if you're running a business, how can I make money off of it? And three, is it viable? And one of the ways you can do that is like, you could be the best authority in the world on left-handed carpenters from the 1500s. But if nobody's looking for that information, you're going to starve to death.
That's so true.
Yes.
Do people look for that?
No, that's a perfect example. I don't think anybody's ever searched Google for left-handed carpenters in the 15th century.
Well, maybe they do, but it's like that one person, and they are not going to pay your rent.
Yeah.
They're not going to pay your diesel bill.
So, I mean, you really got to. That's a tough question, Deborah, to figure out exactly what you should. You've got to be able to find something that people will value.
And that's a business question.
Yeah, that's a business.
Really
that's
question.
a bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
that valid point. Yeah, but on your website, to your point earlier, you said first of all you want to think about what you want to share with your audience and how you want to share it,
right.
and that also I would set tone and all that other things for the website and whether you need certain plugins or not, right? But your advice that I've heard over and over again to us personally when I've heard you talking to other people is keep it very simple because simple is better.
Yeah.
I like simple. It works better for me.
Yeah.
Cynthia has a question for you.
Okay, yes. So Cynthia asks, how do you recommend integrating your blog site into Facebook? If your Facebook group can see your blog without visiting your site, how do you get subscribers?
You don't integrate your blog into your website. You can't do that. You can publish and share your posts to Facebook. That will then lead them back.
Drive them back.
And you should.
Yeah.
But you should also realize that when it comes to business pages, it is a pain in the rear to get any attention
on Facebook.
Facebook without paying for it because they've come under. Some of it's money, but also it's that they've come under such criticism for tailoring fees that they're like, okay, we're giving high priority to everybody's friends and family and all of that stuff, and you're going to come in dead last. So what we say is just count on driving traffic to your blog, make the content worthwhile there, and then share it to your page or your group.
Share it so that they link back from Facebook over to your group or back to your blog so that, you ultimately you want people spending time on your webpage, not on your Facebook group.
Yeah,
I've
heard
that. On your
that.
webpage, you're making money.
Over and
Facebook,
over.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Right, exactly.
I've heard that over and over. They change things so often, and the only thing you have control over is your website, not what Facebook is doing.
All right, the dog in us has a follow-up question. So if you're self-hosting, are there certain things to avoid to start your SEO strong?
Not so much as avoid, but I mean, there's certain best practices that you need to do. You need to have and honestly, the best thing for SEO is good, strong content. The technical on-page stuff is really important as well. Having good titles, good meta descriptions, making sure that your indexing is properly, making sure that you've got your Google Search Console set up properly. There's a lot of technical things that can go on there. And then it's your off-page SEO is a completely different discussion where you get links from other sites and that kind of thing. So there's nothing to avoid so much as just start with the end in mind. And the biggest thing about SEO is when you're putting up content or web pages or whatever, answer somebody's question. If somebody has a question, the people that you want to come to your website, you need to be answering their questions. That's how they're going to find you on Google. And that's how you're going to start ranking.
So explain that a little bit more. Where do I answer their questions?
You've got to provide the information that people are searching for. So if you are, one of the things that if it's something that you want to write about, go in Google, search for what you think people would search for, take the first result, read their content, and then write something that's twice as good.
There you go. All right.
That's not very, yeah.
There you go, dogging us.
Like traveling in national parks with
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and SEO is something I know you guys are recently expanding into a little bit more. So you want to tell us a little bit more about what that looks like?
Well, I mean, what we're initially starting out with is I got tired of all the misinformation and the crap and the there's so much junk out there about SEO, and it's really not as hard as people think it is. There's a lot of technical and gadgets and stuff, but it really boils down to writing really good content and doing the research and figuring out what it is people are looking for so that you can write about it.
You want to tell them the name of your new service?
The No BS SEO.
Is that .com?
Yeah, have you bought that URL? Because I think I'm going to look that up.
No, not yet, but we're really just trying to keep it as simple as possible for the end user, because what a lot of SEO folks do is they just shovel so much crap at you that at the end you just throw up your hands and give them $1,000 a month and say, please, just give me
absolutely.
Exactly,
really, level one is doing a lot of the crap yourself, or knowing what you have to do and just going, okay, I'll pay somebody. But a lot of it you can DIY. Level one for us is Brian analyzes your site and comes back and says, you're going to do this.
We can take care of all the technical stuff for you. You get all that stuff identified.
But it's knowing what you need to do.
Do backlink analysis, content analysis, and keyword research, what you rank for now, what you want to rank for, and then come back with an actual plan of things that you can do yourself, or alternatively, if you just have a lot of pocket change, pay me to do. But just so that you can start doing what you need to do.
A lot of that's writing the content, and it's not like you guys are going to write the content for people, but you're going to tell people, what sort of words to use, what to write content about, that sort of thing.
Right. I mean, I can tell you if there's 1,000 people searching for your topic, or if there's 12 people searching for your topic.
Yeah.
He can tell you if you don't need to bother with that particular thing, or you need to shift your language a little bit, or you might want to write that as a nice little post when you have time, but you need to actually focus on it.
Right. We can show you where to prioritize your efforts, where you're actually succeeding now, where you're, there's definitely room for improvement, and then based on what you guys want to rank for, we can have discussions based around that as well.
And some background on that, I knew all this stuff because I've been a web developer for like 20 years, but when it was a one-person business, I got slack on all of that. And he came in and he starts doing his, didn't have a name then, but it was still No BS SEO. Data description and, all that crap works because I'm like, okay, fine. And, we went through the list and started making sure the titles were right. And then there's still posts that we need to just get rid of and just not bother with. But I would he would say, you know what, this is really hot right now, or this would really help people. Here's some keywords, you need to write a post about that. And then it's like we work together or something. And and our SEO, I wish we had the graph handy that you could guide.
Oh yeah, from the time I started, we're like 350%.
And mind you, I supposedly know what I know.
But everyone's got to remember, SEO is a long game. It doesn't happen overnight.
Okay.
It takes time.
Yep.
And work.
And so Teresa's asking us, is it really cost effective for business owners to manage their own SEO?
It's cost effective for them to do their own. It really depends on the business and the size. Like a really small business that doesn't have a huge budget, I'd say then what you need to do is have your SEO looked at and audited, and then do an action plan, and then with a follow-up 6 months later to see where things are at, with another audit to see, what other incremental improvements can happen and what has happened for basically their circuit. So, that's one of the things we do is we do the audit, lay out a plan, and then come back, evaluate the results of the plan, and then go forward with a new plan after that. Just keep things moving. Well, it doesn't cost a lot of money.
Right.
I don't want to get into the business of doing other people's SEO for them all the time, and having a $1,500 a month retainer to do all that work. I want to help people help themselves.
Right. And I think really a lot of what y'all do with the web design and the SEO is to help people get set up for success, but that they can do a lot of it on their own.
Yeah.
Right. Ultimately, we don't want to have to do everything for everybody.
We want you to come to us when you have a legit problem, and not just for the everyday things. So we try to equip you guys to do the day-to-day and even the week-to-week, and to just go, hey, help.
Or, if you want to change something dramatically or add, a whole new functionality or whatever in your website, then, that's what we want you to call us. But like, your day-to-day posting and managing your website, your comments and those things, we try to equip you and make it as easy as possible so that you guys can do all of that yourself.
Yep. So as far as SEO goes, you mentioned backlinks. Is backlinks easy or a good strong way to start getting better SEO?
It's a great way to get more traffic to your website and to rank higher on Google. It can be really, really hard to get them.
Can you describe what
backlinks are basically? It's basically relationship building. You got to put in the time to get to know people in your niche, and ask them to link to you.
So it's essentially their content links back to your content and vice versa.
Right. Yeah. Right. Preferably someplace where it's contextual, where it makes sense. That in an article somebody wrote on another blog post where they're talking about RV resources, they could say, and hey, the virtual campground is a great place for these with a link to the site.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of good opportunities, but there are also shady services out there that will offer to get you backlinks, and so Google knows that this stuff is going on. So if you don't do it in a natural pattern that looks like relationship building, they're going to hit you.
And I mean, you can buy backlinks, and I actually had an inquiry from somebody who was penalized by Google because they bought backlinks and wanted me to help them because now they're no longer indexed by Google. Wow. I can't help you if Google won't look at you.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. I think I remember we attended a conference together, and there was a guy talking about SEO, and most of it just made my head hurt because it was so confusing. And I remember him at one point saying something about backlists, and your face just yeah.
So, when you talk about buying backlinks on Fiverr, no, I was like, no, we're not doing that.
Oh, exactly.
You should see if he's still indexed.
Yeah.
So, sorry, my eyes are. I think the dust. Anyway,
you're bringing her to tears.
Yes, you are. So SEO, awesome, and then keeping it simple on the website. What other top tips would you tell somebody that's wanting to have an online business to be successful and make money?
And make money. Well, again, do something that people want. if you're thinking about it, quit thinking about it and start doing something about it.
Good advice.
That's and again, don't go overly broad when you're first starting out. Don't shotgun it. You need a really narrow focus. Pick the one thing. If you find 6 months later that that's not working, then you can do the next thing. But don't try to do 12 things. You'll never succeed doing that.
Right. Yep.
And from a website perspective, if someone, let's just rehash that just a little bit, because that's very confusing to me. If someone has a business, they have a niche, they feel really good about it, and they have some technical ability, and so they start off with WordPress and they build their own little website and they start to get some traction. At what point would you recommend that they turn to someone like you as opposed to continue doing their own thing?
When they get tired of doing all the slog stuff and having to keep fixing things or changing things or adding new things, where they end up feeling like they're spending more time working on their website than they are working on their business.
Yeah, that's really and that's tough. That's really tough to be able to step back and take a look at that big picture and say, okay, how much time am I wasting by spinning my wheels trying to fix WordPress when I have added too many plugins? And I need to bring in somebody professional.
We've all spent 10 hours researching one issue on a website trying to figure out what in the heck is going on with it. And I was like, and is that the best use of my time? I'm not sure.
We're at an advantage because we're a team, because we see this stuff all the time, because we have 20 years of experience, that kind of thing. And so if you have the time, you have no budget, you don't mind fiddling around with it, it's not taking you away from your business, go along and try to educate yourself until it does. Probably the first thing I would suggest doing is getting on something like SiteCare, where you can offload a little bit for not very much money. But then when you're doing, you're ready to move up to the next level, then it will probably make sense for somebody to come in and look at what you've done and maybe reorganize things better or redesign it. But you don't necessarily have to go from zero to a $10,000 website. It's not an either or proposition.
Yeah.
And is there one or two things that if you knew somebody was starting out their website, they were going to do it on their own, but that they were going to eventually get to that place where they're going to need professionals, that you would say to them, please don't do this, so that'll make our jobs easier when you come to us?
Yeah, don't use a page builder ever, especially Divi. Divi has had more, I know a lot of people that we know use it, even some people in our client base whose SiteCare we do. They have a vulnerability today, for one, but it's just not very well developed. It's very heavy, so it makes everything janky. And you decide, I'm over this, because it looks easy at first. And the other page builders seem easy. WordPress has blocks. It's not as fancy, but they work. Use blocks. Because if you use a page builder, what happens is your stuff, your content, your blog posts, your pretty homepage, all your testimonials, they're stuck in these blocks of the system, and when you try to move it out, there's all this garbage. It's not like...
It's kind of proprietary kind of stuff. And so you end up with all this really garbled code, and it's a huge effort to clean it up to try to make it usable for a new website. So
that's really the biggest thing.
That's really, don't use stuff like that. And please stay away from Divi. I spend more time updating Divi than I do every other theme in all our client base. Just make sure it's right. Yes,
so if someone does if someone does do that, then it's really they're just doing it as a proof of concept, knowing that they're going to build this, and it's really just going to be, this is what I want it to look like. You're basically going to have to take that from scratch and build something completely different.
Yeah,
it's going to cost
them
more.
That way, yeah. I mean, but the problem is, Barry, most of the time when people have a Divi site like this, they've also got a boatload of content as well that's all built into this.
Yes.
All of it. Very, very difficult to reuse.
Wow.
Elementor is another page builder, and it is less bad.
But it's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
As far as like trying to migrate.
And if you hate the blocks that come with WordPress, if you do nothing else, you're like, oh my God, I can't build anything with these, get a super simple block set. You can find them in the plugin repository. They're usually free. Even the paid ones are not that much. Generate blocks is super basic, but it's got, like, you can change the colors, the padding, you can make your tag big so you do your huge, fabulous headline and all the things you need with, like, these 4 blocks. Atomic blocks is another one. Don't use it.
It just takes a little more, the first thing you do when people want to build websites is they go into Google and and it pops up Elementor and Divi and all these other things, and they download it, and it's great for the first 6, 8, 10 months.
Exactly.
And then they want to change themes or change their design, and
so really everything else we can pretty much fix.
Yeah, pretty much everything else we can fix.
And so, Brian, the chat would like to know again, what was the name of that you don't want them to use?
Divi. D-I-V-I.
Drink.
Drink.
Elegant theme. Divi. Please don't use it.
I love it when we turn the show into a drinking game.
Let's see. The Dog and Us asks, is Page Builder example Elementor?
Yes.
We are such
That's
noobs.
the one I said was less bad, but still don't use it. I'm trying to look at their.
Oh, it's right there.
Yes. Elementor is a page builder.
Okay.
A lot of people use it as popular.
Call us, Tom and Ellie. We'll tell you what to do.
Another thing that's super important to bring up. Actually, it's newbies fall for this all the time. The things that you think are popular, especially if you ask in a blogging group or you Google search it, and the bloggers who are pretty smart about SEO, this stuff will come up. The things that you see recommended or popular, like Elementor, Bluehost, a certain plugin, a certain course, whatever, you guys have to understand how affiliate relationships work and know that things can be genuinely bad and people will recommend them. People get paid $65 a pop when you go sign up for Bluehost. I think there's probably an Elementor affiliate.
There is an
Elementor.
Elementor.
So I'm not saying all affiliates are bad. They're not necessarily bad, but you have to do your own homework. We have certain affiliate relationships. We don't make $65 a pop because
So we don't recommend
we
Bluehost.
recommend the one that we think is the best, and you know we didn't even do affiliates for a while just because it just felt a little bit icky. But the fact of the matter is, we're all trying to get by, and we're going to tell you to use these things anyway. So it's on you to do your homework and find out the things that are bad, and know that it's not necessarily popular or good just because some blogger says it is.
Well, and that's the hard
don't
thing,
ask
right? For
Yeah.
newbies, they don't really even
That's
know
right.
how to do the research to find out.
Yep.
She says, like, she knows what she's
Actually,
saying.
can you find that post, Brian, about how to get help with WordPress?
Our
We
book-
have a post on our website that says how to get help with WordPress, and it's such a freaking boring topic, but I think it's entertaining a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That you know, it's not the thing. Nobody's going to search how to get help with WordPress. Not an SEO optimized article, but he'll post that link there, and it tells you whether you need free help or paid help, where you can find it, what you can do, who you can trust.
No, that's great.
Us.
Of course.
But we're
Of
not
course,
the only ones
of
in there.
course.
Pop that into. Did you find it?
Okay, well,
Well,
while
while-
you're looking for that,
Yeah, we have another question. And if you could work Divi just into your answer, that would be great. So On the Road Naturally would like to know, what about a photo gallery plugin, theme or plugin?
A photo gallery. So that's one that I struggle with a little bit because they're very heavy. David Downs used one that he's happy with, but he's not necessarily as concerned about speed because people are coming there to look at big glossy images. So for integrated natural health or On the Road Naturally, I would be very careful about that. There is a plugin that works well for most people. It's called WP Featherlight. It's kind of instead of a gallery. So you use the WordPress built-in gallery. You just put the squares or the circles or however you want to do your image. And then you pick the thing that says open the link in a new window or something like that. I forget that's or link to the media file.
Right.
and it will open it up in this big overlay and fill the screen, which is exactly what you want from a gallery. And then you can tap or click the arrow and go through it. So your images are really nice and big and glossy, and it does not weigh down your pages, unlike the fancy galleries that do all the slidey things and moving things.
Right. Yeah. I mean, anything, all these neat little animations and features you add also slow down your website.
And they have JavaScript.
And when you slow down your website, people leave your website, and Google goes, "Well, you're not going to be number 7 anymore. You're going to be number 34."
They're really taking a hard look at that, and they don't really care that a lot of us are just little guys. We don't have, 50-person tech teams doing all of our optimizations for us. They just don't care.
Right. All right.
The animal just went by. Okay,
We have
Living a
any
Stout
other-
Life asks, what's the best hosting service for a WordPress site?
Yeah, that's a question from the audience.
That's hosting. Oh, we love Lightning Base. You guys know that. So everybody talks about, like, when you get ready to move up from Bluehost, everyone immediately to like the $35 WP Engine or the $39 SiteGround or stuff like that. And we see like this big. I know you're getting.
Did you hear that cow?
Did you hear the cow?
Did you hear the cow? The cow just like big moo.
Everybody runs to these more expensive services that really aren't all that good. We know because we're taking care of everybody's websites that are on these bigger guys. And actually, Lightning Base is pretty big.
They're pretty good sized. Nobody ever heard of it.
But nobody ever heard because they never market. They should pay. They do pay us a little bit if you go to them. So I can throw out an affiliate.
Yeah. Well, send it to me. I'll put it in the show
we'll
notes.
put it in the show notes.
Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes.
The average blog or website, unless you have over 10,000 visitors or page views a month, is going to be $10 a month, $99 a year if you pay annually, and then if you do an additional website on that, it's half price. So you
And they're fast.
They are so fast.
WordPress
They're
oriented.
optimized.
And we've been on them for
2013.
for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I looked at our stats the other day. We're 99.99996% uptime in all that time.
Unlike others, and we know when other people's sites are down because we
monitor uptime as well for our site care clients, so we know who's down and who's not.
And they also have great tech support. They won't just go, "Oh, not our problem," like a lot of other people we deal with. They'll go, "Oh yeah, WordPress, blah blah blah." Like you can ask them WordPress questions, so that's super cool.
Can you
I
see
see
the
a
cow?
cow.
This will be the last outdoor show that my wife lets me do.
Cattle issues.
Oh my
Actually, no,
God.
rustlers come over the hill.
It's crazy.
It is
The donkey.
crazy.
I'm waiting for the donkey
Yeah,
to
there's
show
a donkey
up.
around here somewhere.
and he's loud.
Aww.
It couldn't have been like elk
wish
or
we were
deer.
there.
They're nice and quiet.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had. Do we have a question here?
I think we got. Nope. I think that's
We
good.
got. Okay.
Just a lot of cow jokes.
Yeah, some cow jokes.
Well, awesome. Okay.
Jeremy, there's nothing
No, I
like
don't.
us.
Okay, my last question for you, very important question.
Uh-oh.
What kind of beer are you going to have now?
Oh God, I don't know. I can go look.
Ooh, the inside of the refrigerator now, folks.
Oh,
Mama's little pills.
I think we need Mama's Little Pills.
Oh,
That sounds
nice.
good.
Nice.
I'll put this back and wait.
All right.
That
All
sounds like,
right.
no drinking on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You guys
The family show.
are probably going to need a shot of whiskey.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
You love the background of our nature? Yes. It's
Yes,
integrated natural
integrated
health
natural
thing lights our
loves-
background.
yeah.
Yes. It is very lovely.
Very good.
It is nice. It's just, like I said, the cows have literally not been this close to us
No.
until
Well,
we had,
yeah.
they're just all trying to be on TV. That's
That's
all.
right.
They're photo hogs. Yes.
Well, thanks for
I'm pretty sure
fighting
one
through
of them had a
it.
jammer also responsible for your technical difficulties.
Yeah. They're eating up bandwidth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks for fighting through it all.
Thank you. appreciate you guys so
Thanks for
much.
having us.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you're going to send me that link and your affiliate link, and we'll put them in the show notes. So anybody that's looking for them can find them in the show notes.
Yeah. And we'll have you on
Will
again
do.
one day when
Yes.
things are a little better.
Well, yes,
It was fine. It was entertaining.
it was entertaining. Always entertaining with the Bentons.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Thank
So
you.
yeah,
Chat.
we did.
Any other questions? Eat more chicken. Yes, Tim. Eat more chicken.
So we did have some links we'll put in the show notes. But if you're eager to go right after the show, afearlessventure.com. Search for A Fearless Venture on Facebook. And if you go, and they do this really cool thing. If you go to /subscribe at afearlessventure.com, you can actually subscribe to their email list.
Yes.
It's a pretty cool
and y'all
deal.
do Facebook Lives from time to time. So
Yeah.
and come on and help people and answer questions about websites. So it's good to be on your subscribe list, because then we find out when you are going live.
That's right.
Correct?
It's good to know the odds.
The odds are good to know. Yes. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Great seeing you. Say
Great seeing you guys. Hope to see you soon.
yeah. Say don't use divvy one more time so everyone can take a drink.
Don't you Jimmy.
Very
Good,
good.
2
Yeah. All right. Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
guys.
See ya.
All right. Well, that was a fun.
That was interesting.
Show.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Well.
Oh, and we lost our
lost our live
hecklers
audience.
even. Yes, exactly. Yes, but thank you in the chat for sticking with us. Thank you. Thank you in the chat for sticking with us. Thank you for the questions. Those were great
Yeah,
questions.
good questions,
And
yep.
and the odds were awesome about answering them. Let's see. The only thing from Deborah's news I wanted to share was that I don't know. Some of y'all may have heard about one of the family,
Kicked out family.
the family, and their RV miles, that they got kicked out of the San Juan campsite in Montrose, Colorado, for getting a FedEx delivery. So I just wanted to put that out to the group so y'all were aware. I wouldn't go to this campground. It sounds like they've called the sheriffs and done a lot of things.
For a FedEx package.
Well, and they've called the sheriffs out for other things as well and had people escorted off the campground. So just FYI, I want to share that with you guys. And then the other thing is that we have mentioned last week when we had Camille on, and in our email, that Camille's got her Remote Work 101 on sale. Today is the last day to buy it for half off. And she also has a business course. So if anybody's interested in those two things as you're continuing to work on what you want to do and finding your niche in the world before you even have your website, then these are great courses, and you can go there to our use that link to get it through us. We do get a small commission on it, but we also are going to offer you a bonus of a updated RV renovation book that talks about office setups.
Spaces.
So yeah, I think that's everything. I'm assuming in the outro it tells them that Teresa Macy's going to be on next week.
Yes, yeah, the outro. We've got our favorite photos. Well, Deborah hasn't seen them, so technically it's my favorite photos from Yellowstone. And we took a ton of photos there. I've narrowed it down to my favorite 30 or so. And we may have to have part 2 of, we'll have Grand Tetons in the next one.
Yep, and I'm going to do a vlog at some point. Yes, then, Johnny, I think it is a private campground, yes.
Yes, it is private. And then we have Teresa Macy coming up next
Tuesday.
time.
Yep.
So, yeah. So.
Teresa is going to talk to us about collaboration. We, as y'all have seen, we've used a lot of folks like the Otts that we've met on our travels and through the RV Entrepreneur Summit. And Teresa was one of the people we met, and has a really great story about how her business got, it changed often, but that she's doing a lot of collaborations. Pivoted. And,
Pivot was the word of the day.
Exactly. So she's going to have a really interesting story, and she does a lot of wellness as well. So she maybe will give us a couple of tips on how to balance work and RV life and stay well.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, join us next week. I'm going to step out on a limb, and I'm going to promise you that it won't be as glitchy next time. And if it is, well, that's just sucks. I don't know.
That's just RV life, and we appreciate you all for knowing it is RV life and
That's
sticking
right,
with us.
exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
Mom, I don't know if you're still on there.
Yep. Love you.
Talk to you. Love you later. Everyone else, thank you again for sticking it out.
Yep.
I hope you enjoyed the cows.
Yeah.
We certainly enjoyed having you.
Yep. We'll be in the chat as the show closes, so we'll chat with you then. Until next time, we'll see you in the virtual campground.
See you around the campfire.